I'm back. Another little video. Ichiwan Sammy here with you. Today's vlog, I'm going to talk about my opinion on current event. Now, this current event is about a couple of weeks old, and it's the North Korean situation and Donald Trump visit to North Korea. So, when Donald Trump announced that he was coming to Seoul after the G20 summit, I knew, I'm not going to get into the politics of the Trump administration and what he does, but I knew that he was planning on going to the DMZ. I knew that there was going to be a possibility that he would meet with Kim Jong-un. And I also predicted weeks ago that he would cross symbolically into North Korea. Now, I knew there would be a quick meeting, maybe. I kind of thought that Donald Trump would go into North Korea like President Moon did and hold a meeting in North Korea. But I kind of figured that that would not happen because of the logistics involved. So, the current President Trump's administration is a very showboatish type of administration. So this was in the plans long time ago. They don't do these things last minute. Now, it was kind of last minute, but it was planned, right? It wasn't, oh, I'm going to show up there and no. They knew they were going to cross the border. They knew all of that stuff. But what really shocked me, what really shocked me, was that he crossed the border and then went 20 steps forward. That was like even more than what President Moon did. President Moon just took one step over. And then what really surprised me was that Kim Jong-un crossed into South Korea, and then they went and had a summit. Not for 2 minutes as what was originally discussed was like just a quick meeting, quick hello, but they actually had an hour summit. And, okay, maybe it's showboating, but a president's time is not something that you waste. And he wouldn't spend that time if there wasn't a plan in place for them to be discussing something to move forward. Now, it's in their best interest not to discuss it and say, oh, we just had a casual chat. Because, if it breaks down, then they lose face. So, and if they promote it as being, oh, we're on the road to peace, and it doesn't work out, then it looks like a failure. So it's all politics. It's all showmanship. But, and here's where it gets me concerned, or what I care about. What I care about is, I live here. This is my home. And in the 10 years that I've lived here, this is the first time. Let me say that again. This is the first time a sitting U.S. president has crossed into the north. It is the first time in history that a sitting U.S. president has crossed into the north. It's never happened before. Is it for show? Who the hell cares? It's never happened before. Even in the times of détente, it's never happened before. Even in the times 20 years ago, when North and South Korea were open, basically open, and South Koreans were going into the north, and North Koreans were coming into the south, a sitting U.S. president never did that. So in these tough times, for them to do that shows that there is progress. That the rhetoric that was occurring years ago was just that, is rhetoric. So progress is happening. So I'm happy about that, because any progress forward benefits me in that I live here. And a peaceful South Korea is a prosperous South Korea. And the second thing that was incredible is that it's the first time that all three leaders have met together. That's the first time that's happened. So just a little heads up to everyone. North and South Korea are technically at a state of war because only an armistice was signed and not a peace treaty. Now, the second thing a lot of people don't realize is that South Korea has absolutely no control or say in peace with North Korea, because at the end of the Korean War, the ruler of South Korea did not sign the armistice. It was signed by the United Nations, China, and Russia, and North Korea. They were the signatories. And the UN, the US, signed on behalf of South Korea. So, the South cannot negotiate peace with the North without the other parties being involved. And they actually can't dictate terms because they didn't sign the armistice. So, I hear people saying, oh, you know, South Korea shouldn't rely on the US or anything. But here's the thing. According to international law, the South has no say. So it's not like we can do anything without the help of the United States or the UN. Not the United States, but the UN. Now, the second thing is, I had a lot of people say when I posted on Facebook that, oh, I was so proud. Actually, when Donald Trump crossed the border, I screamed. When I was watching it live, I screamed because I was like so excited of the potential. And people were saying, oh, it's just nothing's going to happen. I'm like, well, that's what you said a year ago when he had the first summit. And something happened. Here's the thing. Something is happening, right? It's better than nothing happening. And it's better than the rhetoric that was occurring 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Something is better than nothing is what I say. And the naysayers, I don't understand their mindset. They're saying it's all just showmanship. Great. It's a great fucking show. And I'm happy about it. And then the other, what was the other thing that people were saying? When I made a post about how happy I was, that, you know, yeah, nothing's going to happen. And, oh, yeah, here it is. Sorry about that. That why should they negotiate with someone who is a violator of human rights? And I'm like, get your fucking head on straight. You're going to come in and tell them to change their country before you're going to engage them in diplomacy? That's not going to happen. And the people who are saying this are from democratic countries. How can you say that? To come into a country to make them change, it has to happen from the inside out, not from the outside. And do you really want... Here, think about this. Think about this for just 1 second, okay? You have a nation of 25 million North Koreans, and they are given human rights immediately, and they discover the truth about their regime. What do you think's going to happen? A civil war. And a civil war in an unstable government that possesses nuclear weapons. Do you really want another Libya or a Somalia or Yugoslavia? I mean, come on, think about it. The change will occur, but it will take decades. It's not going to take one meeting to change the human rights issue in the North. It's not going to happen. The only way that this is going to resolve in a positive way is 2 nations, 1 country, or 2 states and 1 nation, something like that. This will not be a Germany reunification. Absolutely not. This will be a slow, progressive easing of tensions and opening of borders and redevelopment of the country. It will never be 1 country. It'll be 2 states and 1 nation. That is the only way. that this can be successful because of the time that has occurred past. So that's my little rant on the situation here. I'm not for reunification, I'm for peace. Peace in my lifetime. A peaceful peninsula maintains the status quo, keeps China happy because they want a stable government in North Korea. You can't have an unstable government there. It just won't work. Look at what happened in Yugoslavia when the Soviets dissolved. You had a civil war and genocide between the Serbs and the Croats. So do you want that to happen in North Korea? Because you'll have zealots who will say, oh, it's time to reunify with the South, and then you'll have others that say no, and then you'll break down into political factions and you'll have a civil war on your hands between North Korea internally and with South Korea. So, you know, you have to think about it in the bigger picture, and it's very easy from a democratic country to say, oh, you know, they have to change their human rights first. Oh, they have to denuclearize. It's very easy when you're the most powerful nation in the world or one of the most powerful allies in the world for you to tell somebody else to weaken themselves. It's just not going to happen. You know, think about the shoe is on the other foot. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't give up your only. To those people, I say, think about it just a little bit longer. Educate yourself on the realities of the politics of this country and of this region. And, you know, stop being so two-dimensional. Think about it in a much bigger picture of the geopolitics of the entire region. China, Soviet, Russian, American, Japanese, South Korean. So, and then you have also the other countries around as well in the Pan-Asian area. So that's basically all I have to say on that. I want you to know that I'm for reunification in a two-nation, two-state, two-party country, but slow and steady. First off, we should have a peace treaty. Second, we should open up economic ties, and then cultural, sports, and improve the economy of the North. And then, and only then, when the people develop economically